Hi, um, I'm doing another pointless video today on thoughts based around death and experiences. I don't know, I could have included like half of this and stuff I've done before, but I was just thinking about it and I kind of wanted to put it in a video and make a video about it, whether or not anyone sees it yet or now or later, or they don't, just getting it out there. It's kind of like just vlogging, you know what I mean? Um, yeah. So, thoughts on death, like, it's all relevant. Like, so many people have different thoughts or experiences or thoughts or beliefs on where we go when we die. Um, my experience with one, I could have just been passed out from blood loss or something, but my experience with one in a hospital with the whole thing, um, was that like when this happened, I went to like this most magical forest world with all this amazing shit, and it was like an endless forest. And it was kind of like one of the most amazing and beautiful things I have ever seen, and it was like the most perfect place. And there was like someone there who was kind of familiar to me, but they also weren't familiar to me, like who I've just kind of known or seen in the background kind of thing and situation, which I thought was pretty cool or interesting. Um, yeah, so like that was my thought. Maybe we'll go somewhere good where we die, or if we go there somewhere bad or not. My friend thinks when you die, they had an experience where they were dead for 3 minutes or something apparently, and uh, when they die, they think that there's nothing when you die. Like there's literally nothing there when you die. It just is nothing. And their father had the same experience. Like it's just black. Like I have had experiences with things going black before, but I believe I was just knocked out. Like once with my ex when they were like trying to beat me constantly, and like I stepped back and hit my head against the wall, and I woke up and they had like removed some of my fingernails and they were going to smash my teeth in with a rock, or like once out the back of work, or we've had other experiences with going black or passing out, or just like even being awake and standing up and seeing black when someone like my old roommate when she hit me in the head, like that happened as well. So I don't honestly know. Like when I was in this magical forest place, I did come back, and I went through like the punishment place, like the other place where people get punished, and saw that. And then I went to the dark place as well, which was on the way back, which was like an interesting place. Where I had like the option to one day go and make that into what I wanted to, if I could, because I could create there, which was kind of interesting. It was like a way that I could do that's not like supposed to only reveal to certain people or when it's time or when it's ready, which was kind of interesting. I thought it was interesting. Um, or like there was also one time I almost went to black. There was a little bit of white and brown mixed in with it too. Like when I was a teenager and we were not getting food all the time and every so often, and like and up being so hungry that like everything started to turn brown. Like I was seeing brown, and then everything was like going darking out and stuff. But you know, it's all perspective because when I had that experience, I could have just been like temporary comatose store, but that's not on the file either, or passed out from blood loss or something. When I went to the magical forest world, which was kind of cool and interesting. Um, yeah. Like even when I'm awake, sometimes I see random colors. Like mainly, like lately, I've been seeing white for no reason sometimes, which started originally when I was a child, like kind of after being hit in the head with a hammer or hit in the head sometimes by an abusive stepfather, or when my ex, when an ex I was with, was hitting me, which was kind of interesting. Or sometimes I also see like red, or like this one time I saw blue. It's kind of weird and interesting. Um, whether that means some kind of spiritual thing or physical thing, I don't honestly know. Like I've gone to doctors and optometrists. I didn't mention this to my optometrist when I went recently and got my new glasses, but I didn't mention like the seeing white, which I maybe should have, but I forgot. Um, I didn't mention the seeing white. But yeah, like I couldn't find any physical reasons for it or anything. Um, and some things are all in perspective as well, because some things are not always quite as they seem. I know I'm going on from death to life, but this was just my random ass, completely pointless thought stream on this, going from one thing to another in my strangely autistic attention deficit brain. Um, like as a child, my stepfather was quite abusive, and we were going to go talk to someone about it and stuff, and like we had scans that proved he was abusive from like the marks it left on us, and him trying to hit us in the head with a hammer and stuff to make us look different, so he could pretend we were like not what we were or this or that. Um, and like we were gonna go and we were gonna get the scans and go to somewhere or leave him or this or that, and then like he found the situation, someone told him, and he like we saw him switch the scans out with someone because he's a very evil, hard person, who is not supposed to be important, or like is just a horrible person who does things to children and men and women and tries to make them, dehumanize them, or even try to hit them in the head with a hammer and misshape them and say they're something they're not or this or that, which is interesting. Um, or even like with certain situations to do with drugs and alleged drug addicts and all this or that, like some people still look at someone that's bigger and they say, oh well, they must have eaten a lot, or they're gross, or they're sinful. But like there can be other exceptions to that rule. Like for me, when I got bigger, like I was bigger as a child sometimes, but I was possibly not bigger when I look back at the photos. Um, and stuff. Like a doctor forced me on drugs until they wouldn't let me out, and then eventually they did once I got and I was fat when they let me out, and it like changed my face and made it look gross and thinned my hairline and all this weird shit. And they kept me on drugs, and they only let me change them over from another drug when I got like fucking this big, man. And since I came off of them, I've been going down a lot. Like I was working when I was put on the second one, I was just like, boom, I had to change shirt sizes and everything really quickly. So it can all be perspective. Those doctors don't even care about their people enough, like because I was getting like heart pains and all of this or that, like from it, and they kept me on it anyway. They wouldn't stop it. They didn't care. They're just like, oh, well, you must be psychotic because you told someone that someone threatened you when you were a child. Blah blah blah. Um, yeah, heart condition. Like I found out that I told them I had low blood pressure as a child, so the medication causes high blood pressure. And I don't know if this is accurate or not, but apparently that could literally just make someone's heart stop beating. And I'm like, should I be on this? And they're like, oh, there's no indications to say that it would make your heart stop beating. Well, I was like, well, high medication that can cause high blood pressure with someone with low blood pressure must not do that effect. It must have just been like a bad search on this or that because I was scared about it in my mind for no reason. You can't just trust everyone because there's something which is kind of on this point. Like, I knew someone, Jason, at a pool party to do with like Ron and Patrick in a town called Townsville. And this guy was going into nursing, and they were a horrible person. Like, I caught them doing methamphetamines like ice, and they tried to spread rumors around that I was a junkie and this or that because of it. In these hard situations, and this person was going into nursing, right? And they were a horrible person. Like I refused to have sex with this person, so like they got them and this other big guy, and they said that I was going to like be doing oral on them, and then they tried to push my head underwater and hold me underwater until I drowned and all this shit. And then I just kicked their asses, because they're pathetic ass hoes who can't even do a job by themselves or do it right. And like even in this situation, it's kind of like I was living with a housemate who I thought was cool at the time, who turned out to be a little bit of a horrible person. Said she was involved with some weird satanic shit. Take from that what you will. And yeah, like in this situation, that guy, I was still going over to the other people's house, just avoiding him there because I didn't really have any other friends. No one really liked me. I refused to have sex with most of them online, and they were like, "Screw you, goodbye." And this or that. And like, I'm pretty sure she spread rumors about what I was doing because at that point in time, I was doing massage. I had like an ABN through Centrelink, and I was doing like yard work or gardening, or I was doing like energy healing sessions, and some people were happy with them. Or I was doing massages. My rule was no happy endings though, so some people got pissed off and spread rumors about that I was doing that because I specifically wasn't doing that. Um, until like some horrible situations end up happening, but who gives a shit? It's over. Which is kind of like me. Like my savings went missing then too, a bunch of different times. Like every up until I turned 25, I was in and out of like always in and out of rapey or abusive or horrible situations. I didn't. I got to spend some of my savings, or sometimes I would like steal it before they stole it from me for myself. But they would like all my savings would always get stolen, um, or this or that, and with the money I earned from doing this or that and all the different jobs I worked, it was like a couple hundred thousand. And then like with things that my ex forced me to do that I didn't want to do, especially when I was under 18, like the total amount that I earned, regardless of whether or not some of it was like them making me do it, with like a gun to my head sometimes, was like over 400,000. So there's a pretty good chance they have a house by now. Like maybe 7 years ago or something. Um, like even in this situation, like that person was there and they tried to get me to go in to give them what you call it, to give them alcohol after a surgery on their liver because they drank too much and were alcoholics. And I'm like, how the fuck does that even make sense? But I refused to do it because I didn't like them and I didn't trust them. So someone else did that. And on the same day, they had been spreading rumors I was a junkie, possibly for this purpose, possibly not. They like their drugs went missing, and it was when they on the day at the exact time around when they wanted me to go in and give them, and like I was like, I someone else went in, not me. And then a bunch of drugs went missing, and a couple of weeks later someone broke into my house. The housemate at the time, who was a horrible person, she wanted to go out to the club and was like, can I leave my key here and you leave the back door open? I was like, okay, but I was like, I don't want to leave it open, so I'm just gonna um like unlock it when you get back and stay up. And then on that night, right, this guy had broken in through the window because she had like removed the blinds from the window so she could, because I caught her stealing from me and blocked the door. So she would like she borrowed the neighbor's drill and forgot to give it back and removed the blinds from like the screen from the window so she could get into my window. And this guy had broken in through the window before, and then he ended up breaking in on again on the like a couple of weeks after that event in the hospital. And a couple of weeks after the event in the hospital. Sorry, I'm really forgetful sometimes. And a couple of weeks after the hospital, they broke in, and they went to go through the back door instead of the window where they had broken in previously. And this guy was all gone off like, what the fuck? This is supposed to be open. So I ended up a couple of years later having a conspiracy theory about it. But I'm like, who cares? Like, it just shows you its own perspective. You can't trust someone just because they are, or just because someone says there's something. It doesn't mean you can trust them as that. You know, you can always have room for doubt in your mind unless you undoubtedly know. Even then, sometimes some people will be playing the long game with people and manipulating for the long game or for something they're after or this or that. Um, Even one of the people at that pool party in Towns Hall, a couple of weeks before this all happened and started in certain situations, like turned around and tried to impress me with like, this is something I saw in a video about people who are criminals getting so over cocky with themselves that they boast about it. This Patrick guy was like, oh, people think we're rich or that I'm good people, but I steal $25,000 from my employer annually and no one questions it because I'm the accountant person. I was like, well, fuck. That's not very nice. That's not okay. Especially when they were being like a touchy person and would not stop project advantage. They just like grab you and touch you a little bit, which also this guy that broke in did, which I really hated. And like the guy that broke in on that night when he said the back door should have been open, like had a vial of red shit and was trying to inject me with red shit. And I threw a couch at him and then I hit him with a couch because he was quite scary. Which was interesting. This Casey guy, like I have a friend Casey's a female, but it's a different Casey. Um, some people can't move or get over a situation until justice is served. I feel like this is me sometimes, but I've learned to live with it so that it doesn't happen to another person again because you know it's patterns and it's all going to happen again and again and again. It also like saying people can't move on reminds me of a situation where I physically couldn't move to do with like my stepfather, my sister Chloe. She ate the last piece of KFC. And our stepfather like chased us down in a car with it, and he was like revving behind us and being a dick. And he even took shots at us after that in the next couple of days. And when that happened, like my mother convinced me I made this up. She tried to convince me I first made the first one up, but I knew it was real because of all the situations and everything, and she was just lying. And she tried to convince me that it was just because I fell over in a scrape, but like there was like we were there and he said someone wants to talk to you on the other side of the road, so we went over and then he drove back. Like he told me before we left, sorry, and then he was like driven back down the road. And like I just hear this big bang, and then there's like a hole in my leg, and I'm like bleeding on the floor, bleeding out on the floor as a child. And my stepfather, like he's taken shots at us before and stuff too, but he like physically shot me in the leg, so that's why I walk with a strange limp kind of situation now, a little bit. And I don't know if it's directly related. And I remember like the nurse ladies at school being like, "What the fuck?" And I remember her as a child when I would try to talk up about it, she'd be like, "If did you tell anyone about it?" And if I ever told anyone about it, she'd like, "Oh, let me see to check if there's still gravel in there because it's gravel rash." But like it happened as an explosion before I fell on the floor, and she would like, "Did you tell anyone?" I was like, "Yes." And if I told anyone, she would like put her finger in it and twist and push and be like, "Oh, I think there's some gravel in there," and she would push it and it would hurt. Or like if I said I didn't tell anyone, she'd be like, "Oh, I think it's fine right now," and she'd put antiseptic on it or something, which was kind of interesting. Um, some people claim to be strong or good people, but they prey on the weak because they are weak themselves. Or some of these people won't act alone because they're not as strong as they think, but some of those people might be stronger than they think. Maybe it's the other people need help doing it too, or maybe they're even helping these other people get stronger, which is kind of like a view on certain people, like who could be in the background, just like some people might be viewed as assholes or this or that because they just sit there and allegedly watch a situation. But some of these people might be scanning or surveying and seeing how well you handle yourself and will only jump in if you're actually in danger or you actually need help. If they think you're capable of handling and defending yourself, they'll just be there to like stop a blow that would have stopped you, so that you can get stronger yourself, just sitting in the background. And some of them might be faster than you think. Um, some people out there um, could be victims, some could be abusers, some could be more important than they say, less important, some could be higher level than they say or realize. Like some people like to conceal themselves in their power level, but it's kind of like, like I was watching this video on like like gods of justice in human form, or like angels of justice in human form, who are sent there to judge people, and people think that they're like a gift or that they're theirs or they own them or they have the right to do it, or like they claim this person is abusive, but actually they've been getting watched this whole time and it's like a whole test and this or that, which I think is pretty cool because I love the concept of that. Um, certain people are just that horribly powerful to do with these things that they can manipulate certain things. But I think all in all, if there is a almighty divine creator love being, then they would probably motherfucking know about it all. And they would just be sending people into survey to prove this to other people and seeing who the good ones or the sinful ones or who ends up being an ancient demon or this or that, even if they weren't before. It's kind of like an interesting situation, whether or not it was actually them, like a situation to do with a random stalker putting a video about a housemate I had being a really, really evil, manipulative person that's done it a lot of times before. I was like, well, fuck. Um, you know, when it comes to putting ourselves out there and loving, don't just give your heart to anyone. Be careful with who you trust, but make sure to try to love as you love and how you love, not how someone wants you to love or how someone wants to perceive your love. If you do that, you might find someone you fit with well or someone who fits with you. Um, Obviously, there's the exception of if your way of loving people is twisting their arm physically and hurting them and showing this or that. Like maybe you can find some other weird ass BDSM freak out there. Not saying freak is a bad thing. It's just a word to me. It's interesting, but maybe you'll find someone who fits with you perfectly because they appreciate and love you for you and your kind of love, and not someone who's trying to show you how to be. People in that situation might try to take you from them out of jealousy or so that you don't meet each other or grow together, but like in the end, you should end up coming back together, hopefully, unless you've completely fucked the situation, which is kind of interesting. This is all thoughts. I don't know how I start off on views of death and then get into beings and things of life. Um, when it comes to life, I choose to try to count my blessings and remember or know my curses, which is interesting. Know your curses and count your blessings, which is kind of interesting. An interesting mentality to have. Um, you know, Positivity, kindness, love, and all that. It makes the earth go around. It makes the earth spin. So does gravity, obviously. But hatred or negativity or just being a dick or mean stops people's worlds. It like makes their world stop spinning around. It gets in their way. It interferes their day. This or that. It's not a good thing. It's not a nice thing. And I don't get why people do it. I forgot about this when I was writing. I drew um this picture of someone who like something happens and they put in a mental institution by someone and they have a straitjacket on, and then like they get this golden dragon tattoo on their face and on their arm as well, which was interesting. Not sure about it. They were wearing like blue pants when it happened, and they were going to be put in a straitjacket by someone for something or certain situations, which kind of wasn't the right thing to do on those people's behalf. Like, why would you do that to someone unless they actually needed it? When certain situations, like it comes to appreciating what you have, not looking at what you don't have, like appreciate everything you have, everything you're given, everything you've achieved, and everything you've gotten in your life. Sure, you might have lost a lot, and I'm not saying don't remember what you've lost because you can remember what you lost, but I personally say like appreciate what you have and focus on what you have, not what you don't have, and try to remember everything in the best light you can and the good that happened or the good that came from it. Like in certain situations with my ex, I don't. Some people say victim, but I kind of forgot the word victim for a little bit. I'm kind of like chose to look at it. So as I've talked with someone else that kind of made me think about this. Like I choose to in these situations not be identified as a victim, more of a survivor. Like the other night, someone I was like that, like were you a victim? I was like, yeah. But in these situations, I don't know. Some people just don't like being called a victim, but it's like associating as a survivor can be a different or cool way to look at it. It makes it feel less embarrassing, um, which is interesting. Um, Certain people could be trying to control or manipulate a situation. Like some of these people like to do with even my mother before. I think she got a little bit Stockholm um, when we were trying to leave my stepfather, and he would stop us from leaving and point the gun at us and like all this bullshit. Um, uh, they like sometimes might manipulate them with a child, like pointing the gun at a child. They could manipulate them with a child physically, saying like, pointing the gun at a child is like, I will hurt your child if you leave me, which can lead to Stockholm syndrome in certain situations. Or they could even use manipulation and other people, or like go online and pretend to be other people. Or some situations will be hackers pretending to be you, or like making a second account of yours so they can respond to messages, and people will be like, why the fuck did you say that? But you didn't. Um, as well in certain situations. When it comes down to it, some of these people think it's all about the money you make or the job you have. But when it comes down to it, in the end, one day it's just a piece of paper and a note, and who says that piece of paper or that note wouldn't have been more motherfucking valuable as a tree giving people more oxygen so everyone can breathe more, and there's not less oxygen in the world so everyone has more oxygen in their brain between each person, and less people getting crazier from the less oxygen in the world or purer air. And more trees means more oxygen, which is part of making up water, so there'll be more water for the earth one day as well. Trees hold the earth together at their roots, kind of like help stabilize and hold the earth together, which is like this weird ass, reminds me of this other weird ass theory I had. Like, how is it that we take so much earth, like dirt and soil and earth, from one side of the earth and send it to the other, and like the earth distributes itself evenly as it made? How is it that the earth hasn't started to knock off of rotation and balance and explode yet, with the fact that like we're taking all this soil and putting all the weight on here instead of here? How is it not like knocked off rotation? Like I even had theories like, how is it that all the buildings being so big and together hasn't created wind resistance for certain countries with big or more buildings, meaning their tectonic plates are weaker or less structured, and there's more like earthquakes or tsunamis and shit in those areas. You know what I mean? It's kind of interesting theory I had. We would take out more of the earth then, but like everyone would have their nice little cottage, which is kind of interesting. Um, yeah, money is just money. Some people in certain situations look or act innocent or say, "Oh, I don't know what I'm doing," blah blah blah. But some of these people know exactly what they're doing, and they lie about it. So you've got to be careful and learn how to spot these people. Like many people have said to me that I'm this or that I'm that, or like I have empathic ability, which is like feeling people's emotions and sensing people's emotions or things about themselves, or even like onto the hierarchy empath or the mirror empath, which is a certain kind of empathy ability where you can like, I don't really know how to do it, but it's like you kind of like you look at someone and you mirror back themselves or something about themselves or part of themselves they can't see, they don't want to see, or they don't know about even, which is interesting. Yeah. Uh, some people also in certain situations might not be what they seem to do. With like some people could be scared. Fear is a very powerful thing, so some people could be scared and they're avoiding people because they're scared. Some people could be sad, like don't even look at me, but they're secretly sad, or they're secretly scared, or they're secretly wanting to have a boy over because they're horny. It could be any of those two. There's all different reasons for certain things. So like you can never be too sure. And even if you can sense an emotion where it came from, an emotion, like there's no guarantee it came from the same place. Like a crazy psychopathic person could be completely happy over the joy moon, like haha, but that's because they just hurt someone, and someone who cares about people could be over the joy, over the world happy, but that's because they've helped someone. You know, there's different reasons for people to feel the same emotions. Although people that hurt people don't, like certain kinds of mental conditions feel less emotions, but certain kind of people with mental conditions feel more of the happiness emotion when they hurt people and do bad things. So, you know, even if you can sense emotions or feel emotions, it doesn't mean that it's as black and white as it might seem. But, you know, once you learn how to do and know these different situations, it does become black and white. Some people will choose to like hurt or cause pain to other people in certain situations because they themselves are broken, so they're trying to break everything around them to make it like themselves. Some of these people could be beyond helping, but a lot of these people might not be as beyond helping as they seem. And you know, you need to be their glue or their band aid or their fucking clay and literally just like help them and fill in the pieces, the broken pieces, to help make them whole again, which kind of reminds me of the mirror empaths, like being able to mirror back themselves, someone or something about themselves they see or they don't see or they might not see, which is kind of like the empathy works like a mirror. They can sense emotions, but they can also mirror emotions back, or they can mirror like someone's aspects of themselves or things about themselves they don't know or they don't see or they know about or they see, and like when someone looks at them they see themselves or parts about themselves they don't know. One of this is a possible example of this is Meg on Family Guy, but I don't know if that's actually this or not. I'm just thinking like, what if they're actually like got the empathy mirror ability, but they could also not have this. I'm not 100% sure. I don't really know, but it is possible because I don't know enough about how it works. But it's kind of like those people could be or could also be mistaken for lightning rods. The people in the family who take all the abuse, or the people in this communities who take all the abuse, but secretly they're like there as like a test for everyone, which is kind of interesting. But you know, some of these people might not be that. They could just be mirror empaths, and it could end up negatively affecting them. And like you're literally just looking at the results of yourself on this person, or to do with when you were with this person, whereas someone else with this person could end up with a different result. You know what I mean? It's interesting. Empathy is kind of like healing, right? Empathy is if you're sensing emotions, but it's knowing and understanding. So there was obviously people that will try to hurt people, which is like the rare evil empath. I don't think light and dark empath mean good and evil. It just means like how they go about it. But an evil empath might try to hurt someone. But empathy is healing. So like, does healing involve empathy, or is healing kind of empathy, like feeling the pain, feeling the parts of the body that's wrong or broken, or sensing the parts of the body that's broken and doing it? I mean, even like doctors with the physical body, like the science that I'm trying to study at the moment, like I guess it can kind of be empathy, but it's also not. So like healing is empathy in a way, but also not. And empathy is like a form of healing that people possess naturally. Like I have this view that everyone's an empath secretly. We can all sense each other's emotions. A lot of people just don't realize, or they block it out, like I said in another video. And then these things only get through to you because you block them out. So it comes back to you in your dreams, things you've already seen before that you blocked out because you were taught to not feel these things or know these things. Which kind of does work, like repressed emotions and psychosis, or people that have seen things they're not supposed to. But this can also work with like psychic abilities and events too, I believe. You know, it's interesting. I already said that one before. Um, yeah. So as usual in these pointless ass videos, I am going to do some rando cards. I'm gonna start with these ones, the green ones. The Celtic Spirit Oracle, ancient wisdom from the elementals. It's pretty cool. Don't really understand these ones. Okay, so from these ones, I don't very much understand them or the meanings, but for the past, we have Carrioan, Transformation, Knowledge, and Magic. For the present, we have the Weavers, fate, manifestation, decisions. So something about fate in the present being nearby a present. Um, in the future, we have divination. I don't know about divination, but um, guides, Ogham, and tree spirits. Which is kind of interesting because with the divination, like I don't know about it, like especially if no one in your line had already did it and it just wasn't a thing. You know what I mean? Let's see. I'm gonna go a little bit of insight from this little handy books there. I am terrible at remembering things. Remembering. Gerden in the past was a shape-shifting underworld goddess. Stir her cauldron, so someone was stirring a cauldron. Um, magical brews. A boy left in charge to stir the cauldron. Who's ancient? I mean, who accidentally splashed it. Angry and chase gone. They both shifted into many a manner of animals to escape until eventually Groen was eaten by Caradon, but his life force merged with hers and she became pregnant with his essence. Caradon could not bear to keep him, but he was a beautiful child, so she bundled him off and set him upon the water. When he was later found and adopted, it is said that he grew up to be the famous talisman, sorry. This is something to do with the moon goddess, Carolyn the moon goddess. Another successful trial of change. In the present, we have the Weavers, or the Weavers of Fate, and Manifestation and Decision. Spiders have been known as the Weavers of Fate in many cultures, which is interesting because that could be accurate. It could always be accurate. Could be freaking silkworms mistaken for spiders. I don't know. Um, small holes in tree. It's a blessing to be in the presence of somebody. Um, the future is known. The future is now. The future is happening soon. Is it something that fits into your current life, or are you trying to make it fit? Um, someone who there's something that's a trap set, someone in the right place at the right time, someone who does what they need for survival. Um, something deadly. Think of it as good survival skills. Prepare for the future. Take with you what you will. Do your best. Maybe even the manipulation, someone's not as strong as people think, so they send other people to do with what they don't think they can do themselves because they're scared of certain situations, or someone secretly they know they can't beat or overpower them on their own. Could be union. In the future, divination guides Ogham true spirits. Simple put, Ogham pronounce or Ogham, which I pronounce all the letters represents a tree that also formed in the Celtic calendar, so it's kind of interesting. Wisdom, purple, knowledge, foxes, animal-like beings, merchandise, maybe like a dragon merchandise, which is interesting. We can choose to make medicines, we can choose to make cures, or we can choose to poison those around us. Um, certain colors or smells might be relevant this time, like I'm seeing pink. A new man or woman might be showing up at your doorway or showing up in your life. A new door or a new doorway awaits you. Guess I'm gonna do. I can't tell. I was gonna do one card, but I can't tell if it's either of these cards. It could be either of these cards. Um, the Threshold or Immortality. So these two cards together might mean someone is at a threat on a threshold of immortality, a choice to make. Interesting. So it speaks for itself. I'm not really gonna research it enough. This is the Foxfire Oracle, which is kind of interesting. I love the design on the back of these cards. Like, how cool of a tattoo would that make? I love it. Maybe like with a little witch hat on or something would be pretty cool. I'm gonna do a book of answers before I do the next two. Oops, I cleanse your workspace by keeping a piece of clear quartz on your desk. I accidentally opened it to that one. I was gonna pick a page. The page I pick is two of them. This one, and this one and this one. So, um, life can't be lived in a vacuum. You need to get out of there and let the universe reveal its plan for you. And every day you make around 30,000 decisions. Mostly you do this instinctively using your intuition based on lived experience. Trust your intuition and become more decisive. Okay, I've got to get this over quickly. Oh my god, I can pause it and come back to it. Hold on. Okay, cool, it's back on. Sorry, I had to pee. Nature called. Okay, so some rando cards to do with this. Okay, so I've got four cards. They all on the upside down? No, they're all reversed. Okay, so for one person to do so for one thing or person in the situation, we have strength in the reverse. For one of these, we have Seven of Pentacles in the reverse. And so for the other, like to do with this, maybe they're two forces working together or opposing forces. I don't know. We have the Fool in the reverse, so that says someone knows what they're doing. To me, to do with what I've just thought about and said, and just looking at it. And Three of the Pentacles, something to do with man's fertility or male fertility. So in the reverse, I don't know, I could read the meaning of it and represent something different. So someone who knows what they're doing, and someone who is literally stealing someone's fertility or energy of a man because like they're jealous or something to do with literal testicles, possibly even. So someone who is very unskilled or not alluring, or someone who has unknown or unrecognized abilities, someone who doesn't achieve things on their own but is stealing someone else's energy. So is this other person in this reading is stealing someone's energy or stealing their fertility or sexual energy or even like draining their looks and their beauty, or like just physically their testicle or their DNA. Maybe they're physically stealing someone's sperm. I don't fucking know. It's interesting, but it's to do with like a testicle situation, someone who knows exactly what the fuck they're doing. And so the Fool in reverse, this represents someone who knows what they're doing, walking towards something or a situation, knowing what they're doing exactly. And they're going to act like they're possessed or they're innocent or they're unknowing what they're doing, and they actually know they're causing these situations. Which kind of reminds me of my ex, actually. Interesting enough. And so the other one, strength in reverse, we have weakness, which kind of matches up with the two together. Someone who isn't as weak as they should be, even though they do have their own energy. They have their own energy. And someone who is weak right now or weaker than they should be, I don't think this means they're going to lose. They might still come out of it on top. They could not come out of it on top. They could come out second or third. Who knows? But it doesn't mean they're going to lose. Someone who's being very much drained and without their strength or energy, so represents weakness. Could even be someone who can put weakness into other people, or or maybe it's someone who can sense a weak point. Someone who can like detect a weak point within someone or something, which is kind of interesting. Like sensing something's weakness, which is interesting. Seven of Pentacles reverse. I'm getting something hidden in grass somewhere. Someone was hidden in grass doing a certain situation. Someone was hiding something in grass to do with certain situations. Leaves or grass may be covering this. They may have even used what they've stolen from this or other people in the past in order to hide it. The Seven of Pentacles is here, but I'm getting from this that the one who has been stealing the energy from these people or doing something to do that, or even money or something, whatever it is. But the other card says maybe not. Is this person here? And there's six individuals they've done this to or been doing it to before. So maybe the person at present doing this is actually the seventh, and they've done it to six people before, and they're on to their seventh now, which is kind of interesting. It could even be going on eighth soon within the next 3 days if they get what they want to achieve or they're nearby. Someone who doesn't actually possess his abilities or gifts their own, and they were purely jealous, so they started stealing someone. It kind of reminds me of this video I saw about like a pale being, which is kind of weird because I've also gone pale before, but I'm not like a pale being or spirit myself, like from being shot. Or certain situations, or sometimes I get the shock and I go that way, but it kind of reminds me of the video about waking up with like small holes in you somewhere in your arms and shit when you're feeling weak and drained, or like the cracking in your face or something, which is kind of weird. It's like videos about like a pale spirit, which is actually kind of on this topic, strangely enough, and it's like about psychics being like drained or taken by this pale spirit. And most of them are like a snack to this one, and someone knew a woman, a female, who was like a small meal to them, and then someone, particularly the person in this video, kind of thing, like mentioned in this video, is apparently so powerful they don't realize it, and they're feeding on them as well. And like they thought this person was going to die, but this person, like when it comes to psychic energy, is like an all-you-can-eat buffet worth of psychic energy to someone. Which some people might be like, oh, it's good they can live with them without killing people, but that's not the way to look at it because they're going to hurt so many more people in the long run, and this or that, which is kind of interesting. It's kind of like interesting, and I don't know, um, kind of a horrid, scary situation, but that video woke me out, man. It's probably not true or real or anything. Um, okay, I don't know. I'm getting the feeling about doing the first three cards here, but no, not that one. Kind of like this, yes, then no, yes, no. So I'm going to do this one with another card because it's like that one, then another one, that one, then another one. So I put it with this one. Okay. Okay, so I am getting for the past a dream, something to do with dreams or a situation with dreams. Someone is just dreaming. At the present, there's a choice for the future, which probably stems from this one. Third eye chakra. I don't know which one that is. But the third eye is here, and it represents psychic energy and foresight. So someone who will be able to see things and find things before they happen, which is interesting choice because if something like that is stealing from people can see things, it's kind of way more dangerous, and it could even like paralyze people by making them slip over and then steal and feed from them if it feeds from like the third eye chakra. And then I don't know, that's probably all conjecture, and I think it could be bullshit. It's just like videos I'm watching that give me weird feels. And the other choice is family, so someone's family or someone to do with or relate to another family. These two could even relate to each other or be two different people within a situation. Um, so in the future, it's like free will, courage, willpower, changes, and choices. So the card for the future is choices. Someone's definitely going to have to make a choice. Whether or not they will make the right choice is interesting or good, like the choice will be made and should be made and has to be made. Whether or not was enough information given or not given, I don't know. Study, make your choice. Situation. Um, I'm gonna do a few more cards. Um, not that one. That one. No, that one. Oh. Okay, so I'm gonna put these two in the present. Guidance and creativity. Is that reversed? No, it's not reversed. Support, love, signs, and directions from something or someone, maybe even someone who has passed, giving signs or directions or positivity or support to do something. Um, Creativity and imagination, expression, originality, or passion. So, someone in this situation might be very creative, whether or not they are a psychic person. Someone could be very creative and trying to make things up. It could even represent like a theory I had, or what I was talking about people trying to manifest things, like creating things and trying to essentially bring them into reality, or like someone could be trying to say they have visions or claim they have things, but they're like studying people and working out their patterns and what they do and trying to injure them or hurt them like this, or see what happens through numbers as well, which is another way things can happen. But that's kind of like super smarts, which can also be psychic because numbers are supposed to relate to psychic as well, which is interesting. But yeah, the thing about numbers is it's a fucking interesting situation. Um, Creativity, someone could be trying to imagine or create these situations. Someone could be trying to create situations just to talk about it or get off on it or something. In the future, there's another possibility. It could lead to home or a home, something to do with a home or home situation for someone, or it could be something to relating to home or something that hits home hard, essentially, which is interesting. I'm doing this one next, so it doing this one next means it kind of like relates to home and the heart, I think. Okay, so that's it for that one. That one, I don't know if I said it, but it's the Chakra Inside Oracle. And the one I just did before was the Classic Tarot. The interesting ones. Can never get enough of these tarot cards. I want one for every situational energy one day, but particularly right now, I'm looking for one that will tell the bad as well as the good. Um, okay, this is your heart trying to protect you based on what it knows. Someone could be having intuitions or feelings of their heart, trying to protect themselves based on what they knows. They need to be able to interpret it right or what it means in a certain situation. Shame is the killer of connections. Whatever that means. Why shame even exists without like the actual reason to shame someone. Like shaming someone because of what they are, the way they are is different. Shaming someone because of bad things they've done might be a good idea because they've hurt someone or done bad things. But shaming people for other situations, like shame on you for going out dressed like that. That is just like, why the fuck would you even be that vain, bitch? Okay, so this one is Thich Nhat Hanh. Thich Nhat Hanh. No mud, no lotus. It's kind of interesting. So I don't know what that means. Maybe lotus go to areas with mud or mud to do with situations. I don't fucking know. I kind of don't care, but anyway. Oh, okay. I know I said I was done with the video, but I got these the other day on special because I love me some specials. I'm always finding specials. Okay, so what I'm getting from this is take that one out. Okay, so something to do with this one. Again, I got the third chakra again. Third chakra, solar plexus, personal power. So someone's personal or their own power could represent what's being stolen, what they'll come into, or what they will learn to control or manifest. Because certain people might underestimate themselves, or certain people might overestimate some people. Um, I choose to bend myself. I mean, I choose to be myself and to express my truth have a positive influence on the people and situations around me. I like, if only that was true for me. I try to be my best, but it might not be that. But sometimes you think you're not the best for people, and these people already had these deep seated feelings underneath them that they were wanting to let out or need to get out before it's too late. I allow my integrity and confidence to shine, which instills more confidence in me and beliefs in myself. Um, and then exaggerates what has happened to them. And then encourages others to have natural confidence in me. I do not allow my personal power to become egotistical or exaggerated, manipulative or exploitive. Interesting. Take from that what you will. Cards. Um, yeah. So that is um another thing from my pointless reading session that will probably never be seen, might be seen. I have like one follower at least so far, and apparently there was like a like and a comment, and then there was, and then it disappeared, and there wasn't, and then it was saying there was a like, and then it disappeared, and then like I think like 12 people have viewed it so far, but clearly not all of them liked it. It must not have been for them, might not be them. I don't know. Like I'm doing it because I've helped people in the past. I kind of want to help people in the future, depending whether or not I have a future, but it's kind of like interesting. It's like interesting situations of theorem. Like you never know. You might never know. You could never know. Um, I put it all, like I just said this to a housemate, but I put it all into kind of like scientific theory and thesis and situations, and stuff. Testing it by trial by error and situations like that. Um, Trial by error situations like that. Doing the best you can, or like just testing it by trial, seeing like, well, did this happen? Can I do it? I'm not saying play with people or their lives, yes, because that's bad. But trial by error is kind of like a scientific thesis on spirituality, which I put in another video. When I don't get seen by anyone, like putting it into scientific test and practice. Say, yes, this is real. This is happening. This has got the results, but also being like, the healing could have just been a placebo effect that made their body more receptive to healing of medicine. It could be coincidence. It could be placebo effect. It could be this. Um, but then there's other things like, how did I know this? How did I get this? Why is this always right? And then sometimes it's completely randomly not right off. It's interesting. It's different. That is that is it for now. My housemate's dog back here, so freaking adorable. I love it. Okay, thank you. Um, Good night. Peace.